used to be the emotionally detached billionaire CEO who saw women as mere background noise. Now smitten with a single mom, he's humbling himself to apologize and beg to be friends with her 7-year-old son. The boy who lost his father gradually lets go of his resentment toward Zine. He then guides the two of them to a vacant lot, announcing he'll build a hospital, an amusement park there for underprivileged kids who can't afford health care. He puts Sarah in charge of the project. This gesture completely wins over both mother and son. They soak in happiness like a real family of 3, blind to the coming danger. On the opposite side of the hill, 2 men spy on them. After mapping their routines, they call the supplier who attacked Zane. The supplier instructs them to find the right moment to launch a sneak attack. Yet, the happier and more affectionate they are, the more jealous and furious Zane's mother becomes. In order to get her son back from the lonely woman, Zane's mom devises a cruel ploy. After calculating a non-fatal dosage, she takes the sleeping pills. The next day, Banani comes in to call her for dinner. Seeing the scattered pills and the unconscious Sumaya, she is horrified and rushes to call an ambulance. Upon learning the news, Zine ignores the throbbing pain in his shoulder and drives immediately to the hospital. As soon as he leaves, the 2 men pull out shotguns and move in. Zine has no clue his lover is in danger. He's at the hospital anxiously waiting for his mother to finish gastric lavage. Despite their strained relationship, especially after recent fights over Sarah, Zine can't bring himself to turn his back on his mother. 3 hours later, the doctor finally declares Sumaya out of danger. The dosage she took wasn't enough to be fatal. The doctor believes she did it to seek attention and urged them to spend more time with her. Zine realizes this is just another manipulative scheme by his mother to control him, and he's furious. Still, he bites his tongue, comforts her, and tries not to provoke her. After all, during the time of his father's infidelity, his mother had similarly extreme reactions that left deep scars on young Zine. At the same time, the 2 men smash through the window and storm the villa. Sarah and the nanny panic, hiding with the child. But against armed attackers, their efforts are pointless. Sarah and the nanny are tied to a chair, while Ibrahim is knocked unconscious, slung over a kidnapper's shoulder. As they leave brazenly, the kidnappers deliver Ibrahim to the supplier, who blames Zine for all his misfortunes. He plans to use the boy to blackmail Zane, sabotage his relationship with Sarah, and make him suffer unbearably. After soothing his mother, Zine exits the ward exhausted, asking Karam's mother to continue comforting her. He then calls Sarah repeatedly, but no one answers. Sensing danger, he orders Karam to speed back to the villa together. The moment she sees the saviors, Sarah ignores her exhaustion and begs them to save her kidnapped son. Karam quickly gets the police to come over. Searching the area, the police discover tire tracks and use supplies on the opposite hill. They conclude Zane has been under surveillance for weeks, and a spy must have leaked his hideout. The only non-loyalty suspect is the driver who brought Zane's mother. However, the driver hasn't shown up for work since yesterday, vanishing without a trace. Searching with no leads, Sarah spirals into crushing despair. She'd endure any suffering meant for her son without hesitation, even if it meant a lifetime in chains. Zine reassures her to stay calm and vows he'll rescue Ibrahim as soon as possible. The kidnapping soon alerts Zine and Sarah's acquaintances, including her in-laws. However, after a week, the kidnappers haven't made any demands. The father-in-law thinks it's too weird. He pulls Zine aside to ask what he's uncovered. Zine replies that it's a business rivalry, and that it's the supplier who attacked him who kidnapped Ibrahim. The father-in-law angrily scolds Zane for dragging his grandson into his corporate conflicts. Zane doesn't shy away from responsibility, vowing to take charge and resolve it quickly. Still, the father-in-law harbors a quiet distrust of Zane. When everyone's nerves are frayed to the breaking point, the supplier finally feels satisfied. He calls Zane and spares no effort to mock him. Zane warns him to target him, not the child. The supplier kindly lets the boy speak to his mother for a few seconds, proving he's still alive. Then he orders Zine to prepare $1 million in cash and deliver by noon the next day. No police or the hostage dies. On the other side, Zine's rival, Nasser, also learns of the kidnapping. Panicked, he's desperate to capture the supplier first. If the supplier confesses to his dirty deeds, he'll be ruined. With his arm in a sling, Zine heads to the exchange site alone to meet the kidnappers. After confirming Ibrahim is unharmed, he tosses the $1 million cash at the supplier. Without further ado, the supplier releases the boy and drives off. Instead of chasing after him, Zane calls Sarah first and tells her that her son is safe. She finally breathes a sigh of relief. Everyone's attention is glued to the boy, leaving Zane's reopened wounds and his silent suffering unnoticed. Meanwhile, the supplier is happily counting his big payout, unaware he'll never live to spend it. Soon, Nasser tracks him down. Fearing the supplier might snitch or betray him again, Nasser decides to eliminate him. He takes the supplier by force and leaves the ransom in the car. At the hospital, when Sarah sees her son safe and sound with her own eyes, overwhelmed with gratitude, she finally gives Zane a tight hug, the first she's ever initiated. Right now, he's her anchor. Somehow, just being near him makes Sarah feel safe. But the ring of a police phone shatters this tender moment near the exchange site. Police discover the supplier's vehicle and a kidnapper's body. Apparently, there was a shootout. With no trace of the supplier, authorities list him as a potential threat. Unbeknownst to them, Nasser mercilessly shot the supplier in the forest. Nasser had his men bury the supplier in the ground, keeping the murder hidden. Fearing further attacks, the father-in-law takes Sarah and Ibrahim into his home. Zane visits daily, bringing toys for the boy and staying to play. He knows he'll never rank as high in Sarah's heart as her child, but he never complains. Just having her near is enough. Soon after, the father-in-law summons him to his office. Concerned that Zane has too many enemies, he fears his grandson could be dragged into Zane's feuds again. He says he has no right to interfere in Sarah's relationship and supports their marriage. But he wants custody of Ibrahim, unable to trust the boy's safety with Zane. Zane is shocked and begs him to reconsider. First, Ibrahim is too young to be without his mother. Second, Sarah would do anything for her son. If her father-in-law wants to take the child away from her, Sarah won't marry him. Zane vows to track down the supplier and resolve all threats swiftly. However, the father-in-law doesn't trust him. At night, he discusses the matter with his wife in their bedroom. She opposes seizing custody, calling it unfair to Sarah, but he dismisses her concerns, rationalizing that he's alleviating Sarah's burden and helping her start a new life with another man. Little does he know that the nanny overhears every word from outside the door. The next day, a dog follows two hunters into the mountains and happens to smell a corpse underground. Police arrive quickly after receiving the report and exhume the supplier's body. Zane rushes to the police station as soon as he gets the notice. Nasser pretends not to know anything, reassuring Zane that the threat is eliminated and he can rest easy. He even extends a hand to Zane, asking for reconciliation. Though Zane shakes it, he senses Nasser's kindness feels off too smooth, too timely. On the other side, the nanny tells Sarah about the father-in-law's attempt to seize custody. Sarah is in disbelief as this crosses her bottom line. She immediately storms downstairs to confront the father-in-law. He explains that Zane's world is too dangerous, adding that if she marries, she might neglect her son to focus on her husband. This ignites Sarah's fury. When your grandson was dying, I begged you for money. You refused me and denied he was your grandson. Now you have the nerve to play the doting grandfather. Sarah declares she will never give up custody and warns them to stay silent around the boy. Shortly after, Zane finds her and reveals the police discovered the supplier's body. This means they can stop hiding and resume normal life. He reassures her, no one in this world can take your son from you. If you need a fight, I'll fight beside you. His words bolster Sarah's resolve. She doesn't hesitate to move back home with her son. But there's one worry she can't shake. Ever since the kidnapping, Ibrahim has been plagued by nightmares and listlessness. The therapist advises her to avoid exposing the child to any other traumatic events at all costs. After all, he's just recovered from cancer, and his mental state is still fragile. These words plant a seed of unease in Sarah's heart. To help her son overcome loneliness, she enrolls him in school, hoping he'll make friends. After handling these matters, Zane and Sarah return to work at the company. They've fallen far behind on tasks and now need to rush to catch up. However, a piece of bad news strikes during their first meeting. A multi-million-dollar project they invested in has fallen a month behind schedule, and the partner now intends to withdraw the investment and even threatens to sue Zane's company for substantial damages. Just as everyone is at a loss, a woman contacts Zane voluntarily, insisting this is no ordinary business rivalry. She used to be Zane's father's mistress, May. It turns out Zain's father and Nasser were business partners over 20 years ago. May had been engaged to Nasser, but after spending time with him, she realized he wasn't the right fit and called off the engagement. After that, May met Zain's father and fell in love. May provided Zain's father evidence of Nasser's drug trafficking crimes. Zain's father turned him in, which led to Nasser's imprisonment for 15 years. This created a deep-seated grudge in Nasser. With the death of Zain's father, Nasser can only shift his hatred to Zain. Unable to bear seeing her, a late lover's son, suffer, May reveals to Zain that Nasser has been orchestrating all his recent misfortunes. She warns that Zain is in constant danger. Though emotionally conflicted, Zain doesn't hide the truth from Sarah. He calls to tell her Nasser's revenge may not stop. This plunges Sarah into an excruciating dilemma. For her son's safety, she feels forced to reconsider her relationship with Zain. But Zain's troubles don't end there. Failing to resolve the project crisis could the company's future. Zain hosts a grand press conference, aiming to show the outside world that the company is still operating normally and quash negative rumors. In front of the cameras, he speaks about how the company founded by his father has weathered numerous crises through sheer will and employee unity. He then warns rival businesses scheming in the shadows, calling out their underhanded tactics. Watching the live stream, Nasser feels the words land like a punch to the gut. He knows Zain is talking about him. A cold smile creeps over his face as he decides to make Zain pay. Meanwhile, sensing the danger, Sarah starts avoiding Zain, her resolve wavering. Confused by her sudden distance, Zain is about to chase after her when Karam pulls him back, insisting they need to talk. Karam wears a relaxed smile as he announces he's leaving for another city tomorrow to launch new projects and secure investments for the company. Zain doesn't suspect a thing, oblivious to the sadness hidden behind Karam's grin. It turns out, Karam was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer during a hospital checkup a few days ago. The doctor advised him to have surgery immediately. The diagnosis hits Karam like a freight train, but the moment he steps out of the consultation room, he manages to craft a shaky smile. He can't bear to worry his mother or friends, so he hides his illness, deceiving everyone to go abroad for surgery alone. Deep down, Karam's greatest concern is Zain. Once he's gone, Zain will have to face all challenges alone, both the company's crisis and his troubled relationship with Sarah. The next day, Sarah pushes Ibrahim on a swing at the playground. Suddenly, a car stops on the road, and a menacing-looking man marches toward them. Sarah is frightened and quickly drags her son to run away, but it's actually a misunderstanding. The man is simply picking up his own child. Apparently, the kidnapping has left her traumatized. Unbeknownst to her, Zain has bought a diamond ring planning to propose. Unexpectedly. But Sarah has already begun to pull away. No matter how deeply she loves him, she can't risk her son's safety for love. That night, tears streaked and trembling. She visits Zain's home to break up with him. His face crumples as the words hit him, his eyes instantly wet. Sarah admits she lives in constant fear. She won't put her son in harm's way for love. Zain's voice cracks as he begs her to stay, swearing he'll eliminate every threat and be there to help her through it all. But no matter what Zain tries to do, Sarah won't budge. Zain has too many enemies. Being with him is like putting her son in danger. Zain feels like his world is shattering, mustering the last of his courage to whisper, "Do you love me?" But Sarah refuses to answer that question, saying that she only lives for her son. This is undoubtedly the cruelest blow to Zain. After breaking down in tears, he storms into Nasser's territory, unleashing all his grievances on the man. Why should he pay for the feuds between their parents' generation? He swears never to let Nasser go. Nasser mocks him triumphantly, sneering that he's as reckless and foolish as his father. Just as the fight is about to erupt, Zain's subordinate arrives and drags Zain out of the room. For the first time in his life, Zain feels so utterly desperate and out of control. Sarah is equally miserable. Doesn't she deserve to live happily with Zain? But as a mother, how can she be so selfish? At least sacrificing her love can make the father-in-law finally give up fighting for custody. If you were Sarah, would you sacrifice the person you love for your child? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to see more recaps. I'm hastening to write and edit the next recap. Part 5 will follow.